Hello everyone, this video will address the writer's effect question, and the reason why I'm making another video on the writer's effect question is because one size doesn't fit all. Previously, I have made some videos on writer's effect and some students are still struggling, so I have decided to make a simpler one for beginners or for those who are still struggling, and also a more advanced one for those who are doing the 2027 paper onwards. So there will be three versions: beginners, intermediate, and advanced. This is for the Cambridge English First Language 0500 paper. In the old syllabus, it is question 2D, and from 2027 onwards, it will be question 3D. Welcome to English Step by Step. My name is Miss Wee, and I make video lessons for English first and second language, mainly for Cambridge, but now for Edexcel as well. If you need tutoring, you can contact me at englishstepbystep@yahoo.com or sume888@hotmail.com. Like I said, I've already made some video lessons on writer's effect. This was the first one, and it teaches you how to approach that question using a table. Please do go and watch it. I'll put a link up here. This was my second video on writer's effect, and it talks about all the mistakes that students make, and it's based on the examiner's report. Do go ahead and watch this one as well. I'll also put a link up here. If you look at the examiner report and mark scheme, you will see that the examiner is looking for implicit meaning, connotation, association, and effect. Unfortunately, a lot of students don't know what these words mean, so this video will explain what these mean and how to give the examiner what he or she wants. This incorporates everything that I explained in the last video about implicit meaning, association, connotation, and effect. So this is quite advanced. Today we're going to attempt this paper, May-June 2021, paper 1-3. And this is the paragraph. I'm going to read it to you. It must have taken about an hour before the rain eased off and the heart of the storm swept away. The chimps climbed down and moved off through the soaked, dripping vegetation. I followed awkwardly, my cold, wet clothes hindering movement. A pale, watery sun had appeared. Its light caught the raindrops so that the world seemed hung with diamonds. I crouched low to avoid destroying a spider's web that stretched, exquisite and fragile, across the trail. The leaves were brilliant, vivid, veined greens in the soft sunlight. Wet trunks and branches gleamed like ebony. The black coats of the chimps were shot with flashes of coppery brown. I stayed until the chimps nested. Now let's have a look at the question. So in the old syllabus, you will have two parts. You will have to choose 3 examples from each part, which means you will have to analyze 6 phrases in total. You are given between 200 to 300 words, and this question carries 15 marks. In the new syllabus, there will only be 1 part, not 2. You are given 200 to 250 words, and this question only carries 10 marks. Now let's annotate, which means to make notes. So first, I have highlighted the 3 phrases that I would like to analyze. A pale, watery sun had appeared. The world seemed hung with diamonds. The leaves were brilliant, vivid, veined greens. A pale, watery sun suggests that the sun is very gentle, not harsh at all. It is very calm, in contrast with the storm earlier on, and like a watercolor painting, so very beautiful. The world seemed hung with diamonds, so the raindrops were sparkling. So the scenery was very beautiful. Diamonds also suggest that it is very precious, pure, and the reader would be in awe. The leaves were brilliant, vivid, veined greens, which suggests that they were full of life. It was very fresh. There is a sense of hope and rejuvenation as well. So for beginners, I've only got 4 columns. I put the phrase in here. We're going to zoom in on one word and talk about the implicit meaning. If you could give me one of these, that would be enough. So let's look at the first one. Pale, watery sun had appeared. So the word pale suggests that the sun is gentle. Also suggests a sense of calm after the storm, the chaos. The world seemed hung with diamonds. So the word I want to zoom in on is diamonds. If you're not sure why I'm zooming in on the word, please watch till the end where I go through the examiner's comments. The raindrops are sparkling because diamonds sparkle, and this evokes beauty, freshness, and awe. The leaves were brilliant, vivid, veined greens. Veined suggests that nature is full of life, conveys a sense of freshness and hope as well. So I'm going to put everything in a paragraph. If you're not sure how to do this, please make sure you watch my first video that will explain step by step how to put everything from your table into a paragraph. So first we have the overall effect, which is basically the summary of the effect of the entire paragraph, not a summary of the content. Please take note. The overall effect of the description is to highlight the restorative and majestic beauty of nature, creating a mood of calm and renewal. So now I'm going to start with the first phrase. Firstly, the phrase "a pale watery sun had appeared" uses the adjective pale to suggest the sun is gentle and soft. So I here means its implicit meaning. This conveys a sense of calm. So this could be connotation, association, or effect, doesn't matter. A sense of calm after the storm, implying that peace has returned. So when I go on to the next phrase, I use transitions, as you can see in orange. Moreover, the word diamonds in the phrase, the world seemed hung with diamonds. The world seemed hung with diamonds describes the simple raindrops as precious, sparkling gems. So that's the implicit meaning. This image evokes beauty, freshness, and awe. So we have CAE, connotation, association, effect. Finally, the adjective veined in the phrase brilliant, vivid, veined greens suggests that nature is full of life, implicit, and complexity. An image that conveys a deep sense of freshness and hope. CAE again. So I've got the phrases in blue and the word I'm zooming in green. This paragraph is 116 words, and both paragraphs together should fall within the range of 2 to 300 words. So this would be within the range. And it's a little bit shorter compared to the intermediate version, which we will be looking at now. So here is the table for the intermediate to advanced version, and we have 7 columns. We have explicit meaning, which we didn't have before, and we have also separated these 3 columns: association, connotation, and effect. Now let's have a look at the phrases again. So the first one was pale watery sun had appeared. We zoomed in on the word pale. The explicit meaning of pale is light or soft colors. And the implicit meaning is that the sun is faint and weak in appearance. So I associated this with a watercolor painting. And the connotation is that the world is gradually recovering after the storm. The effect is of calm and peace. The next phrase, the world seemed hung with diamonds. We zoomed in on the word diamonds. Explicitly, it refers to a precious stone. The implicit meaning is that the world appears covered in sparkling light. So the association is of beauty, purity, a magical moment. And the connotation is that the beautiful scenery is priceless and precious. The effect is to highlight the restored beauty of nature. The last phrase is brilliant, vivid, veined greens. I've zoomed in on the word veined. And just the word vein alone is part of the human blood circulation system, and it implies an intricate system which supports life. The association is that nature is strong and healthy, and also fresh and lively, and the effect is of rejuvenation and vibrancy. So explicit meaning is not strictly necessary, but I find it very useful because if you can see the difference between the explicit and implicit, then the association, connotation, and effect is to bridge the gap between the two. So when students say, I don't know what to write, I would suggest looking at the gap between the explicit and the implicit. So let's look at one example. So the word diamonds refer to the word diamonds refer to precious stones. Obviously, there are no diamonds in that scene. So why did the writer use the word diamonds? It's because the water droplets were sparkling. So as you can imagine, it's a very beautiful scenery. So I've got here association with beauty. Also, diamonds are very expensive. So why did the writer use the word diamonds? It's because it is very precious and priceless. So the end result is to highlight the restored beauty of nature. I hope you understood what I meant by bridging the gap between the explicit and implicit meaning. It basically helps you come up with ideas for these three columns. If you want to exclude this column, you actually can. So here we have the intermediate paragraph. The overall effect of the passage is to highlight the serene, restorative beauty and the cleansing power of nature. So in red is the overall effect. In orange, we have the transitions. Firstly, in the phrase, a pale, watery sun had appeared, the adjective pale explicitly denotes light, soft colors and a faint, weak sun. So I have my phrases again in blue. And the words I've zoomed in on in green. EX means explicit, I for implicit, A association, C connotation, EF for effect. Implicitly, it suggests the world is gradually recovering after the storm. So all these are from the table. The watery light quality evokes a watercolor painting and carries a gentle, peaceful connotation that produces a quiet calm. The next phrase, the writer goes on to use the metaphor, the world seemed hung with diamonds. The literal image of diamonds, precious stones, that's explicit, transforms ordinary raindrops into something precious, that's a connotation, and associates the scene with beauty and purity, association. This sparkling image, implicit, highlights the restored beauty of nature, effect. Finally, the description, brilliant, vivid, veined greens, completes the restoration. The word veined, explicitly linked to blood and circulation, implies intricacy of life. Implicit, strength and health, association. Implicitly, it tells us nature is alive again and flourishing after the storm. The fresh, lively connotations reinforce rejuvenation. You can rearrange the order of things. You don't really have to start with explicit and then implicit and so on. So this is 163 words, which is a little bit over the word limit. For the two paragraphs, you should write within 300 words, but just a reminder, I've said this in many of my videos, that Cambridge is not very strict about the word limit as long as you are not too much over and you are able to manage your time. The only question that they are rather strict with in terms of the word limit is the summary question. So when you do the summary question, make sure that you write within 120 words. Here I have an advanced version. This is especially for students taking the paper from 2027 onwards. Now you can see that this is much longer. The word range for the 2027 syllabus is between 200 to 250. So I've written within that range. And because it's quite long, I've separated into 4 paragraphs, one for the overall effect and 3 for the 3 different phrases. So let's have a read. The overall effect of the passage is to establish a powerful transition from a state of distress or chaos to one of serene, restorative beauty, underscoring the majestic and cleansing power of nature. This mood of quiet calm is created with the phrase, a pale, watery sun had appeared. The adjective pale explicitly denotes light, soft colors and a faint, weak sun. Implicitly, it suggests the world is gradually recovering after the storm. The watery light quality evokes a watercolor painting and carries a gentle, peaceful connotation that produces a quiet calm after prior chaos. The writer then elevates the scene to a magical spectacle through the metaphor. The world seemed hung with diamonds. The literal image of diamonds, precious stones, transforms ordinary raindrops or droplets of light into something precious. The association with beauty, purity, and the magical gives the phrase a positive, precious connotation. The sparkling image highlights the restored beauty of nature and fills the moment with wonder and value. Finally, the description brilliant, vivid, veined greens completes the restoration. The word veined, explicitly linked to blood and circulation, implies intricate life beneath the surface, while brilliant and vivid point to strength and health. Implicitly, this tells us nature is alive again and flourishing after the storm. The fresh, lively connotations reinforce rejuvenation and vibrancy. So you can see that in the final paragraph, I've actually zoomed in on 3 words. So for the intermediate and advanced versions, if you want to zoom in on more than 1 word, you can. You may not have enough words for the old syllabus before 2027, but for the syllabus from 2027 onwards, you definitely have enough words, and I would recommend that you do more than 1 word where possible. So my suggestion is you start with the beginner version, move on to the intermediate, and if you are doing the 2027 syllabus, try the advanced version as well. Now let's move on to some useful phrases that you will need to use. Here are some useful words or phrases that you can use. So don't always say this shows that. You can use the word convey. This soft appearance creates a soft, peaceful connotation that conveys a sense of quiet calm. The word suggests is very useful. The adjective pale suggests the sun is gentle and soft. Imply is another one I use a lot. The adjective pale implies that a storm or period of darkness has just passed. Evoke. The quiet, abandoned house evokes a feeling of fear and suspense. Create. You will definitely need this word. This soft appearance creates a soft, peaceful connotation. Hint at. This weak appearance hints at an initial lack of full strength. Give the impression of. The adjective pale gives the impression of a gentle and soft sun. Bring to mind. You will probably not use the last 3 as much. Pale watery sun brings to mind the soft colors of a watercolor painting, suggesting a peaceful recovery. Helps the reader understand that. The use of the word veined helps the reader understand that nature is full of life and complex even after the storm. Here are some more advanced words. I do not recommend that you use them if you are still a beginner. Once you have become very good at this question, you may want to challenge yourself and try and use some of these. Juxtapose is to place 2 elements close together for contrasting effect. The writer juxtaposes the chaos of the storm with the succeeding peace to emphasize nature's quick recovery. Allude to is to indirectly refer to something like a myth or a feeling. The image of diamonds alludes to a sense of immense, unexpected wealth and value in the scene. Reinforce to strengthen or support an idea. The vivid colors of the leaves reinforce the dominant theme of rejuvenation. Underpin to form the basis or foundation of an idea. The soft light underpins the passage's overall peaceful tone. Epitomize to be a perfect example of something. The term veined epitomizes the intricate, thriving life present in the foliage. Lend a sense of, to contribute or add a specific quality to the mood. The watery sun lends a sense of fragility and delicacy to the morning light. Culminate to reach a final highest stage. The description of light and color culminates in a powerful image of hope. Sorry, I've spelled all my color wrongly in the American way rather than British way. It should be C-O-L-O-U-R. I'm very sorry about that. Now let's have a look at the examiner report. I'm going to go straight to the second one because the first one is only for the old syllabus. Make sure explanations of meanings make sense within the context of the text. I don't think I need to explain that. Avoid very general explanations such as this helps the reader imagine it. This makes us want to read on. This makes the reader feel part of the story. These are very general explanations that can be applied to any phrase. So we don't want generic ones like that. We want more specific explanations. Try to engage with the language at word level, and this is why I have a column just for the word. That's why we always zoom in. By considering connotations, associations of words, and why the writer has selected these words in particular. So this is why we have columns for these things. Start with the contextualized meaning, then move on to the effect created by the language in terms of how it helps our understanding of the events, characters, atmosphere, etc. So for the intermediate table, we also have the explicit meaning. Avoid repeating the same explanations of effects. For each language choice, try to be more specific about analyzing at word level again. So avoid repeating. That's one of the things that I've talked about in my second video. Do make sure that you go and watch it. Also, make sure you watch my other videos. I hope that you found today's video useful. If so, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. If you have comments, you can leave them in the comment box below. Thank you very much for watching and see you in the next video.